Hi everybody, I'm Kid Catholic. This is season 4, episode 15, and it is a 4th of July episode as of when this video is posted. Tomorrow will be 4th of July, so because of that, today's topic is patriotism, and is it okay to be patriotic? So, let's get into it. So, is it okay to be patriotic? Is it okay to honor our country and to fight for our country? And I wanted to look at what the Bible has to say about this, about what Jesus had to say about paying taxes and giving our country and fighting for our country. And right here in Matthew chapter 22, verses 15 through 22, I have the Bibles out right here. It says, "Then the Pharisees went off and plotted how they might entrap him in speech. They sent their disciples to him with the Herodians, saying, 'Teacher, we know that you are a truthful man and that you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. And you are not concerned with anyone's opinion, for you do not regard a person's status. Tell us then, what is your opinion? Is it lawful to pay the census tax to Caesar or not?' Knowing their malice, Jesus said, 'Why are you testing me, you hypocrites? Show me the coin that pays the census tax.' Then they handed him the Roman coin. He said to them, 'Whose image is this and whose inscription?' They replied, 'Caesar's.' At that he said to them, 'Then repay to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God.' When they heard this, they were amazed, and leaving him, they went away." So this is a pretty big verse, a pretty big answer. Basically, Jesus' overall answer to their question was yes. Yes, you should be patriotic. Yes, you should pay your taxes, but you should not put that over God, right? There is a fine line, right? And we read many, many times in the Bible that we need to put God first, that we need to put God first above all any other God. So above all of our electronics, above each other, we need to put God number one, and that includes our country, and that is what God was telling them. And the Pharisees thought they had it, right? It says they plotted to make him mess up in speech. That's what the Bible tells us. They were trying to give him a question that he could not answer, that he didn't have an answer for, and prove to the people that he was not all wise. Well, obviously they failed at that, and God gave a very reasonable answer, right? We should love our country, we should honor our country, but we should not put it above God. Now here in America, we celebrate the 4th of July, right? Because the Declaration of Independence, our freedom, was signed many years ago on July 4th. So our freedom is celebrated on this day, right? That's why we celebrate this, and it is okay to celebrate the freedom of our country. But many people have lost their lives in order to keep the freedom that the USA, that America has. And this is the military, and they fight for our country. And that, my friends, is not putting God before your country. Later in the Saint of the Week, I'm going to talk about Saint Joan of Arc. She is a perfect example as to be able to fight for your country while putting God involved. I'm not going to get too much into that since she is our Saint of the Week, but she really serves as an example, and so we can do both. We can maintain fighting for our country, and we can honor our country while honoring God first. And I think something that is very important that we all should do is honor our military. They fight for us. They fight for our freedom, and I feel like especially they get so disrespected nowadays, and we should try to do better to honor them and to know that they fight for our freedom, for us. And I think another thing is that politics today wants to keep religion out of politics. They think that the faith and politics should be two separate things. Well, if you're a practicing, honoring Catholic, how can it, right? God is supposed to be the main focus of your everyday life. He is supposed to be before everything, even your country. And since politics is mainly about the USA and about our country and about the president and stuff like that, we need to, in our political fights, for you adults or parents who are watching and you're voting, you need to think, what would God want? We need to put God first in everything we do. You can't be a practicing Catholic and vote pro-choice, vote for abortion. That doesn't make sense, right? That's not putting God first. Pay to Caesar what is Caesar's, and pay to God what is God's. This That's one of my favorite verses in the Bible, right? Because in the USA, it does cost money to live here. It does cost money to keep up the streets, but that's for the good of us. And so, yes, should we pay taxes? Should we honor our country? Yes, absolutely, but we should not take that away from God. We should also donate to our churches, right? We should also donate to the faith because it is good, and because look at all that our church does for us, right? And lawfully in the USA, if you don't pay taxes, you get arrested, right? It's against the law. And there's no law that says you have to donate to your church. But why wouldn't you want to, right? Just like what Jesus says in the Bible about it. Why wouldn't you want to donate to your church? Why wouldn't you want to donate to great organizations, to great Christian Catholic organizations? It is so vitally important that if we pay to the government what is theirs, to pay to God what is God's, just like the exact wording that Jesus tells us right here in the Bible. I'm not trying to tell you you must donate to your churches or it's a sin. I'm not trying to get you to donate all your money to all these great organizations. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is to tell you why wouldn't you want to, right? There's no reason against it, and the Bible tells us that it's good to do it, just like the verse I just read, right? So we should want to pay our taxes and to donate to the church. We should honor our country, but to honor our country with God. It even says it in our own Pledge of Allegiance, right? Which it stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice through all, right? It even tells us there, under God. We can honor our nation, we can love our nation, but as long as we put God first and we put it under God, then we are doing exactly what Jesus tells us and what Jesus told the Pharisees who tried to trap him in speech. So now that the topic is done, do you guys know what it's time for now? It's time for the Saint of the Week. Back at the Heavenly Hammock, and like I said earlier, today's Saint of the Week will be Saint Joan of Arc. Now, like I said, Saint Joan of Arc is a brilliant example of how to fight for your country and honor your country while still putting God first. Okay, when she was younger, around my age actually, 13, she heard whispers of saints. Saint Michael was among these saints, and then later, when she was also 13, she was in her father's garden when she saw a vision of these saints come to her and tell her to drive the English out of French territory. And she did just that. People at first didn't take her seriously because at that time, women weren't really known to be fighters, right? It was hostile for women to be around there, right? And so people were sarcastic about it. They didn't take it seriously, but she finally proved them wrong, right? And later, she actually succeeded in doing what she was told, and she also was said to have not killed anybody in battle, rather holding a religious sign, which people said were more powerful than the swords that her fellow army men were fighting with. Her fellow army men said that she gave them great advice on how to fight for the good of religion, on how to fight for the good of France. And so Joan of Arc always did her best to honor her country and to fight for her country without putting her country in front of God. Not only was she able to put God in front of her country, even though she was fighting for it, she was able to put God in front of everything else. And that is very important. So anytime we feel like something could be taking up our prayer time, or we could be putting something in front of God, we need to look to Saint Joan of Arc and think, what did she do, right? She was a warrior. She was amazing. She is a huge figure in not only Catholicism history, but history itself. And so we always need to look at her to think, what did she do in order to put God first each and every day? So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like the video. Please click the red subscribe button down below and the bell next to it. That way you get notified when I come out with a new video. Also, don't forget to check out my website, kid-catholic.com. The link to that will be in the description and in the comments below. Also, don't forget to check out all 3 of my social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The link to all 3 of those will be in the description and in the comments below. So, thank you guys for watching. That was Kid Catholic Season 4, Episode 15. I'll see you guys next week, and Hi, Brielle. Question that I really want to answer this topic is it okay to be patriotic? Like I just said, that's in the title. In fact, not only putting her country in front of, in fact, not only did she was able to put God in front of her country, but she was able to put God in front of everything else. And at that time, there wasn't such a thing as cell phones, but there was a thing as other things. I don't know where I'm going with this.